Okay, folks. Anybody want to get that? All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Unless we need to, if there's any reason we need to wait a little bit longer. Okay, I'm going to call to order the Board of Commissioners meeting for December 3rd, 2015, here at the Museum of the Waxhaws, 6:30 p.m. Entertain a motion to allow me to conduct the meeting. So moved. All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Stand and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for just a moment of silence, please. All righty. Have a seat. Entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Also, we've got a thing in the back room, we need to be kind of loud, put it on the microphone.
Oh,
So they can hear us recording.
Gotcha. Okay, next up we have public comments. And first person I believe is, I can see, the last name looks like Stokes.
I think it's Stokes. Okay.
Sorry, corrected the message here.
That's all right.
All right. Okay. Sorry if you all stayed here and address everybody without consideration. First of all, be very brief out of deference to your meeting.
It's okay. Could you just tell us who you are and
Yes,
where you
sorry.
live, please?
My name is David Stokes. I live on Newman Road, 6819.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I was unable to attend the meeting on November the 10th, but I did have the opportunity to review it on YouTube. I've seen it several times. I just want to give an overview statement very quickly. And this is in reference to the rezoning of 62-acre farmland. This is OIS, that's correct. Okay. I saw basically some citizens who were obviously for it, and I saw a number of citizens against it. But what the thing I saw was basically the definition of it and how arbitrary it really is. Meaning that there are individuals who, once given, I guess, that inventory, have a certain amount of liberty to do a number of things underneath it. I suggest that now, having lived in Waxhaw now myself for about 20 years over Davis, that I have a great deal involved with Waxhaw. It means a lot to me. And the one thing that I have developed, or sorry, I've seen, is the development that's been here. I know it's inevitable. That's true. That is progress. But the opportunity I think we have now with this particular zoning of the 62 acres has to do with the definition of our zoning laws and what in fact we wish to do with the property that is proposed to be developed. And we can see it now. I worked at the university at Winthrop down in Rock Hill. It took me over an hour and a half to get here with traffic just coming up 521 and out of Rock Hill. And I'm saying, okay, this is just the beginning of what we're going to see more of. And that tells me that we have a real opportunity now to be more mindful with how we develop our street systems and basically our use of the land. So to be very succinct about it, I think it would be wise to consider the definition of the OIS. I think when in reviewing the YouTube presentation, Mr. Butler and Pastor Whittington had some very, I thought, sage comments to make about that property and the fact that it's its rural nature. Mr. Broxton, who wanted to develop it, I believe, for the soccer field, his concerns were legitimate too, about a soccer field. The thing that I found rather interesting, however, was the fact that if one wanted to, there could be a change inside the definition of the rating itself, where small commercial facilities could be put in there. And I think Mr. Oliver pretty much articulated what could be put in there. Now, the thing I would ask is, how is that going to impact everything? It's all well and good to put a structure in it, but really, what is going to happen to the highway in terms of the traffic that will be there, and also as far as the activities are concerned? If we're looking at the soccer fields, what does that mean? Now, and I'll stop in just a moment to say, I think there are a number of questions that haven't been answered. Personally, I will not stand in the way of anything if it makes sense. I think it's fair to say Waxhaw is going to change. And I think we have an opportunity here to change it in a way that we distinguish ourselves from other communities. I do not personally want Waxhaw to look like 74, I-74, Independence Avenue. And I think if we're not careful, that can happen. I think that can happen very easily. One of the beauties of this particular area to me has been the fact that it's rural, essentially. Number two, the architecture which has been able to exist here is very unique to the area. And I think we can capitalize on that if we were very careful in how we did it. So where I'm going with you is to make this a true democratic process. Number one, I would ask the city, and perhaps you could say they're listed somewhere, drawings of the soccer field. I'd like to see the development of where the parking lots are going to be, where the turn lanes are going to be, where potentially residences will be. And I think there was some comments too about the fact that the septic systems would be out there. How is that going to impact that land? What is that going to do to the water table? These are things I think that need to be answered, and perhaps you gentlemen can furnish those answers at another time or documentation. But I think until they're answered, I would say, why not review this further? Why not look at this a little more in depth before we signed off? Because as we know, once we sign off on something, it is here for a long time. And that's what I think we would be wise to do. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Next is Lisa Hart.
Okay, I stand here.
Sure.
I have a few comments about that same parcel of land.
If you could just state your name.
I'm Lisa Hart, and I live on Davis Road. First of all, I love Waxhaw. I've lived here for nearly 20 years. And just for the sake of brevity, I'll just say that I support the current zoning for this rural residential farmland piece of property, and I oppose the proposed rezoning. And I speak for a number of my neighbors as well. I'm not assured that the future development of this property in years to come is going to be a positive change for those that live in this area. And I believe that too much discretion is left to the developer and the owner of the property. And I mean, I certainly don't believe that there are any ill intentions about what the owner proposes to do with soccer fields, etc. But realistically, I know that developers want to make money, and in future years, I have concerns about what will potentially be on that property. I'm not anti-soccer, and I'm certainly not anti-development, and I'm not against economic progress. I just don't think that this particular piece of land, where it is appropriate for the use as described. And I have, I guess, three major concerns. One is traffic related. I think that this proposed project is going to cause a big additional traffic problem to what already is there. And trying to make this meeting tonight and coming from Charlotte, this would be well over an hour just to get from like the Matthews area parking and the activities that might be going on there. I don't know, maybe it'll take you 2 hours to get home. I just have concerns about that, and having lived in South Charlotte for a lot of years, I came to Waxhaw. It was so appealing just to escape all of that quagmire of traffic. I just have questions. I'm thinking, considering the parking areas for the soccer fields, the egress in and out, the additional cars that will be traveling that route, the parking area be enough to accommodate, all the people for these tournaments and things, when people park on the sides of the road. I mean, I don't know. Living out here, I see a lot of emergency vehicles that come by, and I'm thinking potential problems with access to that. I mean, I don't know. I just have questions. I also have some environmental water quality concerns. And these are things I don't really know, but I'm just posing the questions. I know, as Mr. Stokes alluded to, there's no sewer there, and it will require a septic system. Is there an environmental impact statement on this project? A creek runs behind that property. Our water is from private wells, and will our water source be protected? Are you addressing protection of underground drinking water sources there? Will there be any kind of monitoring? I mean, the maintenance of those soccer fields requires year-round work. I know people that do that, and typically there's heavy use of fertilizers and herbicides, all those things. Most of those chemicals don't break down in the environment. Those chemicals, some of them like MSMA, that's typically used on soccer fields for the maintenance of that, for fertilizers. We have some pretty devastating health problems, and over time, will our wells be safe? What's the impact on the groundwater? I mean, it may be minimal, but I'd like to just know more about that. And what about the lighting of the soccer fields? How high will the light poles be? Will it be those high-intensity halide floodlights that just illuminate everything? So many years I've driven by that area, and on my way home, and I've admired the darkness. A place where you can actually see the stars at night, untouched by the light pollution from Charlotte and all those other areas. And in the daylight, I always enjoyed seeing the wild turkeys in that field, and the silhouettes of those beautiful trees, those wide open spaces, green space, natural areas. That's one of the qualities I always loved most about Waxhaw, and that's quite frankly the major reason why I came out here from South Charlotte. And with unmanaged development, I'm just seeing that disappear at an alarming rate. And I'm not talking about specifically Waxhaw, but just all around Charlotte, and even encroaching in our area. And I'm just thinking, I think with good planning, we can expand the tax base, all the while protecting our town charm. And I know that's a challenge, but let's not let the drive for growth just eclipse the very things that made us special in the first place. The added to our quality of life here, and there's been a lot of talk about change. Well, there's good common sense change, and there's a change that subtracts. And I think we should just be very careful about what kind of Waxhaw we truly want to promote and preserve, not only for us, but for our future generations to come. And again, I just ask you, please consider not just from the economic standpoint, but from the standpoint of quality of life and preserving the charm and the very qualities that brought us out to Waxhaw here in the first place. So I really appreciate the opportunity to say thank you.
Thank you. Terry Stone? Come on down.
At the last BSC meeting, I heard posing ideas about what is best for Waxhaw concerning Church Street Park. One opinion was that there should be no apartments that will ruin our people. The other was that the town has to change or die. The code is the code, get over it, and those that are opposed My neighborhood is quite diverse. There are large lots and small, large houses and small, old houses and new houses. People that own their homes, people that rent, old people, young people, and everything in between. We are not opposed to change that will bring apartments, new homes, and new businesses to the downtown resort area. What we are opposed to is change that will affect our quality of life in a negative way. This is why many of us participated in the community meetings that resulted in the downtown vision plan. This plan painted a vision of infill building that would enhance our quality of life. Unfortunately, the form-based plan, which was recommended in this vision, is not the plan that was approved by the former BOC. I attended most of the meetings and with many of my neighbors asked for changes to the code. I'm asking again that you instruct the consultants that are revising the EPA to revise this section first to bring it into line with the vision and bring it to uniform vision as soon as possible.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is presentations and reports. Start with commissioner reports. Commissioner Fitzgerald. Let's go in order.
Okay. Just a quick update for the board. We, each of you should have in your mail slot a binder that looks like this, Waxhaw Board and Committee Orientation Manual. Commissioner Stewart and I have taken 45 of the 60 people through the training. We're going to get the last 14 on August 14th, right, Wendy? Okay, that just wanted to confirm. Kudos, big time kudos to Wendy who put this binder together. This represents a piece of work that probably took over a month to try to consolidate all of the information that we have scattered across multiple systems, which made it virtually impossible for anybody coming onto the board to go and find what they needed to be able to do their job. All the sessions were very interactive. People appreciate understanding that we're all now operating under a common set of rules and procedures from staff to boards and committees all the way up to the town board. We use the same format for rules and procedures, and we're all kind of operating under the same approach. Took them through the code of conduct, took them through all the resources they have available. So just wanted to make you aware. Lots of good discussion given what's going on out in the playground, code of conduct and ethics. I know, Chaplain, you're going to talk later on that, but that was by far and away the most interactive part of the evening. But thanks again to Wendy for all the work you did, pulling together 60-some odd binders, getting everybody scheduled, trying to live with the changes Mike and I made on the fly as we went along. Had to be virtually impossible, but she still got a smile on her face. So thank you.
I just want to point out that a little less, just a week shy of 2 years ago, this board sat in this room and came together. It's kind of irony that we're back here for our last meeting as this board. Again, it's been a good 2 years. We've got a lot accomplished, a lot of things have happened. New town manager, new clerk, new community planning director, new Parks and Rec director. Lots of things have occurred. So thank you all for the 2 years, and please join us again back at the PD Tuesday night where we swear in the new board starting at 6:30. Thank you. Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, I'll reserve my comments till next week. But yeah, thanks a lot, man. It's been a tremendous help.
I have nothing this evening.
All right. Moving on, town manager report, Warren Wood.
Tim Stewart, members of the board, Mr. Spencer. Got some updates tonight on some projects that we're working on. So we'll run through and give you an update on those. Nick can give me. There you go. Okay, so we've already heard it a little bit tonight about transportation. So the Board of Commissioners will have a workshop from 3 to 5 on December 16th to go over a number of topics related to transportation. Specifically, Kimley Horn Engineering has completed an analysis of 18 intersections in Waxhaw, looking at volume of travel, time of day, those sorts of things, traffic flow, directional flow, and they will report to the board on what their findings are, what that basically reveals in terms of traffic, and specifically as it relates to Highway 16 and Kensington Drive, but also beyond that, also in that vicinity. So that's one of the topics that will be covered at that meeting. Additionally, Kimley Horn, they have the contract for the redesign and improvements related to Kensington Drive, and they will give us an update on where they are for the improvements of Kensington Drive for Waxhaw Mall in the 16. They will also report out on the status of Highway 16 widening and the Waxhaw Parkway as it relates to those projects getting on the state funding list. Commissioner Stewart and I have been having conversations about what might we do to accelerate the timetable for the particularly the widening of Highway 16, where the Waxhaw Parkway is also a priority for anybody that came down Highway 16 in this meeting tonight. But related to Highway 16 widening, the right-of-way acquisition is supposed to start in 2022 for that project, and then the construction in 2024. We don't think we can wait that long, so we're going to. The question to Kimley Horn is, what is the case we need to make to have that project accelerated? CRTPO, I believe Commissioner Maher is going to reach out to the Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization for them to come to this meeting as well, talk about the new scoring process with the CRTPO and how the Highway 16 and the Waxhaw Parkway projects feed into that. So that'll be the topics that we cover at the December 16th meeting. At our last meeting, we did a presentation on a TAP grant, which is a pedestrian and bikeway grant specifically for the downtown area. It was a $1 million grant total project with $500,000 funding through the CRTPO. We should know our status in terms of whether or not we get approved for funding in December on that grant. And if the application can be amended, I believe Kirk's running it through some of the Main Street committees for them to vet it. So hopefully we'll get positive news on that, but we'll know later this month. Wayfinding, we've completed phase 1 with wayfinding. We're in phase 2. Proposals have been received for phase 2. Phase 2 will focus on the gateways throughout the town, and we hope to have phase 2 completed by the end of the fiscal year, and then phase 3 will be the final phase of that. So that's wayfinding. Keeping along the transportation avenue here. So Gray Byram, Highway 16, the signalization of Gray Byram and Highway 16. We are working with surrounding property owners, 2 developers, the NCDOT, Kimley Horn, and crafting a long-term solution to the signalization of Highway 16 at Gray Byram. What I'm referring to is not the easy fix, but the quicker fix is to go out and just signalize the intersection as conditions exist today. Then what will happen is if we do that, we can lock ourselves into a situation we have at Cuthbertson and Highway 16 where there's really no more room to widen that intersection the way it is built out. So what I'm saying is we need to approach Gray Byram and Highway 16 in terms of developing that infrastructure, securing the needed right-of-way that's going to provide the room that we need over the next 30 years plus to widen and develop that intersection. So there's a lot of moving parts there, but I want folks to know the town is working on that. We've made pretty good progress with particularly the property owners in the area, as well as the developers who have an interest in seeing that intersection signalized from a development perspective. Bond Road, Church Road, and Highway 16, that's another intersection that the town has actually completed design work to have that intersection signalized. It's not a funded project, but it is a project that has been designed. Just like the Highway 16 and Waxhaw Parkway, that's also work that hasn't been completed but is underway in terms of developing the signalization design work related to that intersection. Again, that's not a project that is funded, but it is work that the county's undertaking. The interesting thing just to keep in mind with these three in particular is that Highway 16 is a state road, but the town is stepping up and saying, you know what, we're taking, to some degree, we're taking ownership and responsibility. We need to get these things fixed, and put things in motion to get them fixed. The NCDOT is not known for working quickly, so we're working, interceding, and doing what we can to take care of our interests and our residents' interests in Waxhaw. And likewise, Kensington Drive and Waxhaw Marvin Road, St. Matthew's Church and Landover, the developer, have financial responsibility for making improvements on Waxhaw Marvin Road and Kensington Drive. And Kimberly Horn is going to be facilitating or coordinating that work. And obviously, that intersection is already signalized, but there are other improvements that are going to be required to be made out there. And Kimberly Horn's going to be getting that up related to their overall work in improving Kensington Drive. And finally, Highway 16 improvements at Church Street. This relates to Church Street apartments. That project hasn't been approved. The last step in the process, for the most part, is NCDOT, North Carolina Department of Transportation, weighing in on improvements that the developer of the Church Street apartments will have to make to Highway 16 to accommodate the additional traffic that project will produce. So we anticipate, we thought this week we would get the comments back from the DOT on these are improvements that the developer is going to have to make. So that's the last, we haven't gotten those yet, that's the last step in that process. So those are some intersection and roadway improvement updates. Any questions about any of those? Just stop me if you do. Downtown parking study, we should have, I know the consultant is collecting data and wrapping up work. We should have a presentation on their findings to the board in January. So that work is progressing smoothly. One of the things that just in the short time that I've been here that I've noticed with developers, oftentimes they have to do what's called a transportation impact analysis related to the impact that their project is going to have on certain roadways, which would dictate the improvements they have to make to those roadways to accommodate the additional traffic. The way the current process is set up, the developer can pick their engineering firm to do the traffic impact analysis, and you can imagine that for the most part, in the real world, the way that's going to work is the engineering firm is going to be looking after the developer's interest more so than the town's interest. So we are going to be bringing forward a new transportation impact analysis ordinance that turns that around and makes sure the town's interests are looked after, because they're going to have to pick a firm that the town approves. In essence, that firm will be working for the town, but be paid by the developer. So we're turning that whole process around to make sure the town's interests are looked after as development occurs in Waxhaw. So that'll probably be in the next month or so. There's a draft ordinance that's being completed, but it's not finished. All right, switching gears a little bit over to the planning side. Obviously, the comprehensive plan, that work is being wrapped up. I believe I heard February will go to the Board of Commissioners for public hearing and presentation. So that's where that is. We're going full steam with the UDO rewrite. The consultants wrapped up some interviews with some stakeholders yesterday, starting the information gathering process related to that. So that's underway. Again, that's going to be about a year plus, at this point, 14 to 16 month process. So that's a lengthy process. The UDO is basically your land use ordinance, for lack of a better word. So again, that's going to be a lengthy process, but we're well underway with that. We continue to see a lot of traffic through Town Hall with folks inquiring related to voluntary annexations. that's actually picked up in just the short time I've been here. We're seeing more and more developers and property owners come through inquiring about